so much for joining today as we honor the 49th anniversary of Roe v. Wade with an exciting announcement that is already changing how patients access abortion here in Southern Illinois. I'm Banyan Lee Gilmore, VP of Strategy and Communications at Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region in Southwest Missouri. I'll be moderating today's press conference. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. Please note that this call is being recorded and live streamed on Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region in Southwest Missouri's Facebook page, in addition to Governor Pritzker's Facebook page. This recording will be shared with all members of the media present today. If you are not a member of the press and you do not wish to be on camera, that's okay too. You can turn your camera off and still be able to watch the event. If you are a member of the press, please use the rename function to include your name and outlet so we can easily identify you in the Q&A portion of this call at the end. Speaking on the call today, we have Jamelcy Rodriguez, President and CEO of Reproductive Health Services of Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, joined by First Lady M.K. Pritzker, Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, Illinois Director of Health and Family Services Teresa Eagleson, Kawana Shannon, Director of Patient Access at Planned Parenthood, and Dr. Erin King, Executive Director of Hope Clinic for Women. With that, I'll turn it over to Jamelcy.
Thank you, Bonnie, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this special day virtually. We hope to do this in person, and while we are so disappointed that COVID continues to upend plans, it is so good to see everyone's faces here. Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, Director Eagleson, distinguished members of your administration, today's announcement is a shining example of what is possible when elected leaders like you work to shape policy that allows providers to center patients and not politics when delivering abortion care. The Reproductive Health Act signed into law in 2019 clear a path to a future with abortion access that does not depend on the Supreme Court, what happens in Congress, or who is in the White House. Today, as we honor the 49th anniversary of Roe versus Wade, we're announcing for the first time the grand opening of the Regional Logistics Center, a case management center that helps solve the growing layers of logistical barriers patients face when seeking abortion. In partnership with Hope Clinic for Women, the RLC is a centralized call center that arranges travel, logistics, and connects patients with existing resources like abortion funds in all 50 states and other practical support organizations. This is a new navigation tool in response to a growing demand for patients who walk through our doors every day and remind us of what a post-Roe reality has already arrived in states like Missouri, Texas, and the states in between. More than 2 years ago, when we opened our Fairview Heights Health Center in Illinois, when Missouri patients came flooding in, the vast majority of whom choosing to flee their home state for abortion care. When we were faced with the option of a one-visit appointment in Illinois versus a maze of medically unnecessary hoops in Missouri, that choice continues to lead patients across the river. Beyond the clinical care, our staff increasingly provided logistical support for people who needed help getting a ride home, securing financial assistance, and even with childcare. It was so clear to us that we needed to reimagine our patients' experiences when accessing abortion care, and the infrastructure needed to make it easier for them to get here. Since 2019, patients who visit our Illinois Health Center now consistently represent at least 7 states in our region because of similarly restrictive landscapes that have pushed abortion access out of reach. And with increased travel distances, the logistical hurdles have only multiplied. In a few weeks since we started adding wraparound logistical services through the RLC, we have provided 138 rides and flights and housed dozens of patients in our overnight stays. Since Texas abortion bans took effect, abortion funds have helped ease financial burdens in the amount of $73,000 for 828 patients who traveled to Southern Illinois providers for care. We have seen a 53% area since the Texas ban, the volume of patients fleeing to Illinois will only grow. If Roe is overturned, we expect to see 14,000 patients from outside our service area in the first year. In our bi-state region, the post-Roe reality arrived years ago. For people with low income, people of color, and those who live in rural communities, the legal right to an abortion has never guaranteed access. For far too many, Roe v. Wade has always been a symbolic right in name only. Yes, this could likely be the last year we honor the landmark Supreme Court decision, but today, seeing right, justice, and health leaders come together brings me so much hope in our collective work to rebuild something better in this space. Together, we are breaking down the silos anti abortion politicians created and providing that in community with innovation and determination, we can secure a future with abortion access. I want to extend my gratitude to all the partners in abortion access who have joined us today in celebration, including Abortion Funds, Practical Support Organizations, and Hope Clinic for Women, our independent clinic partner. Thank you for your commitment to patients across our region, not just in this moment, but in the many past years that have built a foundation for reproductive freedom. And now it is my great honor and privilege to introduce Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you so much, Jamelsi, and good morning to everyone. I want to start by saying that Illinois is a safer and healthier state because the Planned Parenthood team had the foresight to expand reproductive care, even as threats to a woman's right to choose have grown all around us. Today, the need for your leadership has never been clearer, and I'm deeply grateful because this is truly life saving and life changing work for patients here in Illinois and throughout the nation. With reproductive rights under attack across the United States, it's never been more vital for the state of Illinois to ensure access to reproductive services. On the 49th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, we all thought that we would be vigorously celebrating this important milestone. And instead, we're forced to contend with the very real possibility that there may not be a 50th anniversary of this fundamental right. As the Supreme Court whittles away at choice and debates the fate of Roe, every state that borders Illinois is poised to ban or further restrict abortion if federal protections are repealed. With my signature on the Reproductive Health Act in Illinois into law in 2019, we made clear that abortion rights in our state will not hinge on the fate of Roe v. Wade or the whims of an increasingly conservative Supreme Court. When it comes to contraception, abortion, and reproductive health care, Illinoisans are able to make some of the most important decisions of their lives without interference from the government. That's not a right that should stop at a state line, but it's a right that far too many women can only access because we in Illinois have chosen to make sure there is access to the care that they need. Just prior to this event, my wife, First Lady M.K. Pritzker, and I had the opportunity to personally thank the Planned Parenthood team for their bold leadership. And I want to emphasize our gratitude again in this venue to all the incredible healthcare providers and activists who are here with us on this Zoom call today, including the Regional Logistics Center's co-partner, the Hope Clinic for Women. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for never giving up in this fight, never giving up on our vulnerable residents, and never backing away from the pursuit for real, true justice. Thank you. That also includes logistics support groups such as the Chicago Abortion. You so often make the difference for patients who need a doctor but can't afford getting there. They too are a critical part of the abortion access story and likely will be increasingly so. This center is a first of its kind within the Planned Parenthood Federation, and we're incredibly proud that it's here in Illinois. The services that it provides represent an important new frontier to secure abortion rights, providing wraparound services, including funding and transportation, childcare and lodging, even finding a meal when patients arrive at the clinic. Let's be loud and clear. Abortion restrictions endanger women. They force patients to travel tens, hundreds, thousands of miles, empty their savings accounts, or worst of all, turn to options that put their lives at risk, and none more so than those from rural or low income communities, young people, and of course, people of color. So, our nation's former protections for women are receding. And as that's happening, it's more important than ever that we pave a new path. And as governor, I will fight to make sure that Illinois is a refuge for reproductive rights today, tomorrow, and always. So thank you. And I would now like to turn it over to really the best partner that anybody could have in state governance. And that's my partner in this fight, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Juliana?
Hello, everyone. And thank you, Governor, for that warm introduction. I am Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and I use she, her pronouns. Governor Pritzker, under your leadership, Illinois has become a force for reproductive justice. And I just want to thank you for your unwavering commitment to protect the rights of all Illinoisans. I would also like to acknowledge Representative Katie Stewart, Director of the Department of Health and Family Services, Teresa Eagleson, and of course, my friend and neighbor in St. Louis, Mayor Tashara Jones. Thank you all for what you do to ensure the health and well-being of every resident is at the forefront. And of course, I do want to thank the entire Planned Parenthood team for all your tremendous work. And that's critical right now. We have seen the threats to abortion access around the country. We know what is at stake. And we know that we can overcome these barriers if we stand together. I'm honored to join you all for the grand opening of the Reproductive Health Services of Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis Region's Logistics Center, because this is what it looks like to stand up and push back. When others tried to turn back the clock on progress, you innovated and a supportive healthcare hub. When others tried to restrict, you expanded your services to offer additional support by connecting people to travel, lodging, and abortion fund resources. And when others tried to silence women, you centered your patients. Most importantly, you are working to ensure that no one feels like they're alone on this journey, especially our most marginalized who are often forgotten and ignored. As chair of the Illinois Council on Women and Girls, I have traveled this state and have seen what an incredible impact equitable healthcare efforts can have. In fact, it can change lives. So I want you, the advocates, abortion providers, and funds who work directly with patients daily, to know that you aren't just filling a critical need today, you are a part of something bigger by helping to create a future of holistic, inclusive abortion care and access. You are laying the groundwork, and I commend you. And know that the right side of history is not a lonesome road. Abortion is healthcare, and our administration will continue to champion bodily autonomy and ensure that everyone can receive the care they need and deserve right alongside you. Thank you again to the entire Planned Parenthood team, and I'll now toss it over to Director Eagleson.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. As the director of the Department of Healthcare and Family Services, Illinois' largest health insurer, I'm honored to be here today with the governor, Lieutenant Governor, Mayor Jones, and really all of you on the front lines to mark this historic anniversary of the decision that gives women the ability to make choices about their own reproductive health. Enhancing access and increasing the healthcare choices that are available in Illinois is a major part of our mission at Healthcare and Family Services and a foundation of the Medicaid program. So women across the state are able to decide what is best for them in their individual set of circumstances. Under Governor Pritzker's leadership, we have worked to make abortion a truly viable option for Medicaid customers by significantly increasing rates to cover procedures for women who choose to have an abortion, and streamlining the billing processes to allow for electronic submission of claims. We've also expanded ways that women can gain access and gain eligibility to the program by including family planning providers as an access point to health insurance coverage. Supporting women as they navigate their healthcare journeys and connecting them with options for quality care is vital in every single situation. We are continuing our work to strengthen broad maternal and child health access across the state and address the inequities that continue to exist. During this pandemic, even, we've deployed blood pressure cuffs and pulse oximeters to pregnant mothers. And last year, Illinois became the first state to lengthen the coverage for postpartum care to 12 months, a critical time period to ensure women have access to care as well. We've also made LARCs an easier choice for women in the Medicaid program. So increasing access to the quality care options that women decide are right for them will give them better health outcomes and will make for a healthier Illinois. This administration is so glad to be a partner in this work with Planned Parenthood. I congratulate you all on the opening of the center. We are so grateful for the commitment and work on behalf of Illinois and really all women. It should really be all about them and their physical and mental health. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Kawana Shannon.
Thank you, Director Eagleson, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, and Governor Pritzker. My name is Kawana Shannon. I'm the Director of Patient Access, which means I serve as direct contact for patients who are utilizing our Regional Logistics Center and have last-minute needs. In my 20 years in operation here at Planned Parenthood, I have seen so many patients forced into an unnecessarily impossible situations in order to access abortion. My phone rings at all hours of the day and night. Patients who face unexpected hurdles like broken down cars that won't get them to our health centers, or patients who need to stay an extra night for added clinical support. The phone calls are happening more frequently and more urgent, and they are really trying to get in as fast as possible. The hardest part is knowing that these hurdles have been systematically manufactured by anti-abortion politicians whose goals are to ban abortion. Accessing abortion doesn't have to be like this. But for people who are historically marginalized, people of color, women, people with low incomes, by the same anti-abortion politicians who have created this chaos, this is a rule game and a cruel game of power and control. As a Black mother of 5 children, I want patients to know what I needed to know when I was navigating my reproductive health choices. That there is a community behind them, supporting them and centering them when so many have not. Today, as I speak on behalf of patients who call me and say, Ms. Kawana, can I hug you when I get to Illinois? That's like the favorite thing ever. That their gratitude and relief to exercise their reproductive freedom is the work of all of us here today. For that, I am thankful to be in community with you. Now I'd like to introduce to you our final speaker, who will take us into the ribbon cutting, our partner at Hope Clinic for Women, Dr. Erin King.
Good morning. I'm Erin King. I'm the Executive Director at the Hope Clinic for Women. We have been providing high quality, compassionate abortion care to patients in Granite City, Illinois since 1976. We have been here so close to the state border with Missouri and watched as that state heavily restricted abortion. We are continuing to see the ramifications of other states moving toward near total abortion bans. The outcomes are clear. The laws are pushing patients further and further out of their own communities and healthcare systems. We are seeing an increase in patients from all over the Midwest and South. As a physician directly caring for patients every day, I listen to story after story of the work it took a patient to find a healthcare provider that they trusted. Before they get to us, they've had to arrange time off of work, childcare for their kids, a hotel room in a city, let alone a state they have never been to. They've had to secure a reliable vehicle with gas and a partner, family member, or friend who can travel with them. All of this for a visit that they could have safely conducted either over the phone or in their own gynecologist's office down the street from their house. Hope Clinic already works closely with many patient funding organizations, as well as groups that are providing practical support like gas money and travel coordination. These organizations are tirelessly doing more and more work to decrease obstacles blocking a patient's path to their appointment. The need for this assistance has exploded. It is taking significantly more money and time to do this work. As we look toward this new year and the potential changes to abortion access across the country, it is critical that medical care providers like Hope Clinic and Planned Parenthood also take an active and purposeful role in coordinating not just with each other, but these existing patient support organizations. Hope Clinic is thrilled to be partnering with our colleagues in opening the Regional Logistics Center. Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, Director Eagleson, distinguished members of your administration, your support for all aspects of reproductive health care, including abortion, has been unwavering. Hope Clinic stood behind you. Yes, like I literally stood right behind you as you signed the Reproductive Health Act nearly 3 years ago. Your team clearly knew what was coming, the abortion restrictions swiftly sweeping the country. Governor, you called abortion a fundamental right. You also called Illinois a beacon of hope in the heart of this nation. On that day, we cheered for people in this state, but we cried for the patients in other states because we too knew how important Illinois was about to become for abortion access. The work of the Regional Logistics Center continues your administration's mission. Partnerships like this that support all aspects of patient care are one more critical step for Illinois to continue to be a leader in this nation, protecting the fundamental rights of all citizens, regardless of state lines. Thank you. I'll now turn this over to Banyan for the ribbon cutting.
Thank you so much, Dr. King, and all of our partners and allies and leaders for joining us in this announcement. We're now going to join RLC staff for the ribbon cutting. We invite everyone now to unmute yourselves because we can't be in person. We're going to have to create a virtual cheer for our staff as they cut the ribbon and officially open the Logistics Center.
Cool.
Ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Yay.
Awesome. Congratulations to our staff there. We are now going to move it into the Q&A portion for members of the media who have questions. Please direct message me, Banyan, your news outlet and your name.
Banyan, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, we're now going to move into the press Q&A. We're going to open up the call to members of the media who have questions. Please direct message me, Banyan, and your name and news outlet, and I will call on you in the order your name appears. Then you'll be prompted to unmute your mic so you can expect a second of a lag time before you're able to ask your question. Again, just DM me, Banyan, your name and news outlet. I've got Caitlin Cruz from Jezebel.
Hi, y'all. Thanks for inviting the media to this. I wanted to ask if you could elaborate on the geographic scope of patients that will have access to this logistics center, as well as the scope of groups that you'll be working with for patient support, such as what Dr. King or yeah, Dr. King mentioned for practical support purposes.
Thank you for your question. I'm happy to address that. So 2 years ago, when we saw the writing on the wall and we were preparing for additional abortion bans and restrictions in our region, we made a collected effort to try to come up with some wraparound services, coordinated care to ease the burden of patients. Because we had already been seeing a lot of out-of-state patients, specifically patients coming to us from Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and others. And of course, after the passing of SB 8 ban in Texas, then we started to see an influx of patients traveling from the Midwest and the South, including patients from Texas, because this law just has had this rippling effect that it's costing all patients, even in states where abortion is still legal and available, to travel outside of their home state in order to find appointments faster. And what we know in Illinois is that since 2014, there has been year over year increases in the number of abortion patients traveling from out of state to seek care. And the latest statistics dating back to 2019 show that in that year there was a 10% increase. Specifically, and Dr. King, you can share your experience. At Planned Parenthood, we saw over a 40% increase in the number of patients traveling from out of state following the passing of the Texas abortion ban. Dr. King, anything you would like to add?
Yamelsi, we saw a very similar increase that your team has seen. I think one of the important things we've looked at too is the number of patients that have needed funding since a Texas abortion ban went into place, and we saw just an explosion of the amount of patients that needed not just funding and logistical support, but travel support. We saw our funding partners helped us with close to $70,000 in funding, as well as 700 patients in funding and logistical support. So, we were still, obviously, those funding organizations were helping patients before that, because we've had several years of the states around us adding more and more restrictions, but the increase has been astronomical just in the last 4 months. And to answer the question too about the scope of how far the regional logistics center will spread, I mean, really any patient that's coming for an appointment at either Hope Clinic or Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region will be eligible for assistance through the regional logistics center. So that's patients that may be close by that need support. I mean, there are lots of patients that live very close to the health centers that need support, either funding or logistics. And there's patients that are thousands of miles away that need help. So it will be across the board. Patients who have appointments for abortion services will be eligible for this case management through the logistics center.
Yeah. And to answer your specific question, we are working with over 50 abortion funds at the local, state, and national level. And I want to just not pass the opportunity to continue to lift up the work that abortion funds have been doing for decades. So our goal here was not to reinvent the wheel, but really be a connector and sort of a one-stop shop where we can take care of patients holistically. So not just via appointment scheduling, but acknowledging that in order to make it to that appointment, patients still face a lot of different barriers. So with the support and in partnership with abortion funds, we're able to provide financial assistance. And when we're talking about supporting organizations, then we are talking about, as Dr. King mentioned, those partners that are providing like cash assistance, helping with food security, and even childcare. So this has been an all hands on deck collaboration and partnership with our allies in this space.
I think we have time for 2 more questions, and then we have to wrap up. And members of the media, we can take it to email if you have additional questions. The next question is coming from Dean Olson from the Illinois Times in Springfield.
Thank you. I was wondering, I had 2 questions. What is the cost of this logistics center to open? How is that being funded? And how much is the move to open this a fear related to the Supreme Court striking down Roe this year?
Thank you for your question. So I'll go in reverse order. So the planning of the Regional Logistics Center, Hope Clinic for Women, and PPSLR have been working on this for about 2 years. And so this is not in direct response of what could be happening with the Supreme Court. Initially, we thought that this was going to be just an opportunity to better serve patients' needs in the Midwest. But what I can tell you is that we are prepared to scale up the operations of the Regional Logistics Center should there be, in what we're expecting, right, an adverse decision coming down from the Supreme Court that could just revert the protections on the Roe or restrict them even more. Both Hope Clinic and CPSLR over the last 2 years have made a $10 million investment in capacity building, in infrastructure and technology. And in addition to that, we made an additional investment in order to start up the Regional Logistics Center. And to answer the specific question about the funding, it's via a patchwork of just philanthropy and private funding, in addition to work that we've been doing with corporate organizations and other partnerships in order to start the services. And of course, we are looking for how to continue to support those services over time.
And last question is going to come from Janelle O'Day with, I believe, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Hi, y'all. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you having this press conference this morning. This is really exciting for you guys. So just want to be clear, if this Regional Logistics Center is actually paying for travel of patients, and also, are there any certain requirements such as an income level or distance traveled or anything like that to use the resources at this logistics center?
Thank you for your question. The Regional Logistics Center is providing the connection, the scheduling of all of the resources and the funding through it via just different partnerships and private support. So yes, we are paying for the transportation if patients need that service via air or car, and we are also covering the cost of overnight accommodations if that is needed. And we recognize and we want to center patients in our decisions here. So there are no minimum restrictions in order to access the services. So we recognize that abortion restrictions disproportionately affect low-income people, people of color, and young people. So of course we are centering them, and this center was created with them in mind, but we will serve everyone regardless of who they are, where they live, or how much money they make.
Again, a huge thank you to everyone who joined us virtually today. Reminder to members of the press, we will be sending a recording of today's call shortly. You can also join Chief Medical Officer Dr. Colleen McNicholas and Governor Pritzker on Instagram Live at 11 o'clock, so in 5 minutes. They're going to have a special chat about the RLC, and a link to